As we come on the air tonight, there is gunfire that can be heard in the Venezuelan capital of Caracas, where lights from drones and anti-aircraft fire have been seen near the presidential palace. It's not clear yet what the implications are of this. We're going to continue to monitor this throughout the hour tonight, and we'll bring you any updates here live. This is all coming, though, as here in Washington, there are conflicting messages about who is actually in charge in Venezuela after that successful mission to capture its leader. Nicolas Maduro is being held in a New York City jail cell tonight following his outburst in federal court today, in which the deposed dictator insisted that he is still the president. This is coming as Maduro's vice president was sworn in as the interim leader today, but that apparently doesn't mean that she's in charge either.
There's going to be some posturing that occurs when a nation has been so thoroughly defeated in this way. The United States of America is running Venezuela. By definition, that's true. By definition, we are in charge because we have the United States military stationed outside. So the United States is in charge. The United States is running the country.
I caught up with the Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, after that interview with my colleague Jake Tapper today, where he argued during that interview that the U.S. by definition is running Venezuela. Stephen, you were a part of that group, the select group that the president said is his staff that is running Venezuela. What exactly are your day-to-day responsibilities?
The President of the United States has asked Secretary Rubio, who also happens to be his national security advisor, to directly, of course, under the president's close guidance and direction, to be the lead on this process. But obviously there's many other elements involved. You have energy policy, treasury policy, financial policy, military policy. So it's a big team and group of people. Everybody's working great and closely together, again, under President Trump's leadership.
But what are you specifically doing? What are you specifically doing?
I make a habit of trying not to talk too much about myself. I'm just happy to serve on this incredible team on behalf of President Trump.
So who is ultimately in charge? The president himself offered a one-word answer to NBC's Kristen Welker this evening, and his words, quote, me. This is how the Secretary of State, though, who you just heard Stephen Miller name as the point person on Venezuela, this is how he's framing things.
It's not running, it's running policy. The policy with regards to this. We want Venezuela to move in a certain direction because not only do we think it's good for the people of Venezuela, it's in our national interest.
On Capitol Hill today here in Washington, lawmakers, including the top Republican in the Senate, spent the day trying to sort out what exactly is going on. There was a classified briefing, actually, that lasted for hours this evening by those top officials. And the questions when it comes to what's next, are not just limited to Venezuela, who's running it and what the future of that country is going to look like. We've also heard the president threatening several other nations just in the last 48 hours alone. Compare what he's been saying lately in the last few days about foreign interventions to the kinds of things he said previously when it comes to the campaign trail and as he was running for office.
Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States, and he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you. We believe that the job of the United States military is not to wage endless regime change wars. You have to do something with Mexico. Mexico has to get their act together because they're pouring through Mexico, and we're going to have to do something. The cartels are running Mexico, whether you like it or not. It's not nice to say, but the cartels are running Mexico. We will stop racing to topple foreign, and you understand this, foreign regimes that we know nothing about, that we shouldn't be involved with.
There's been protesters killed in Iran.
If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States. Regime change in Iraq, regime change in Libya, regime change in Syria, and every other globalist disaster for half a century. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security, and Denmark is not going to be able to do it. We're getting out of the nation-building business and instead focusing on creating stability in the world. The American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again. Stupid foreign wars in countries that you've never heard of. This Tuesday is your chance to stand up and declare that you're not going to take it anymore.
My first source tonight joins me on what will be her last night as a member of Congress. Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is here, and thank you so much for being here. We heard from the president today when it comes to what's next for Venezuela and just defending this decision overall. He told NBC News, quote, MAGA loves it. MAGA loves what I'm doing. MAGA loves everything I do.